Three, two, one. Contact is the secret, is the moment. When everything happens, contact is the answer, is the reason that everything happens. Contact. Let's make contact. Three, two, one. Contact.
Australia, home to some unusual animals found nowhere else on Earth. Australia, koalas. When you think of Australia, you think of unusual animals, right? Animals like the kangaroo, the platypus, and the koala. But did you ever wonder how it happens that those animals live only in Australia and nowhere else in the world? Well, there are a few reasons. Australia is a continent, a large mass of land, but it's surrounded by water, so it's also an island. Australia is an island continent. And that means that the animals that live there can't get off, and animals that don't live there can't get on. But Australia wasn't always set off from the rest of the world. Millions and millions and millions of years ago, about 150 million years ago, when dinosaurs were still around, Australia was connected to Africa, South America, Antarctica, India. And Australia fit in right about here. What was this huge continent called? It wasn't called anything because there weren't any people around. People weren't even invented yet. But today, scientists call it Gondwana Land, an ancient continent, Gondwana Land. About 150 million years ago, Gondwana Land started to break up in pieces. The first piece of land to separate slowly drifted to the northeast and became the continent we know today as Africa. The next piece of land to split off was India. It drifted north until it collided with Asia. Many millions of years later, South America, Australia, and Antarctica went their separate ways. And the continents are still moving today at a rate of a few centimeters a year. Where will they be in another 50 million years? Wait and see. A giant flightless bird once roamed Gondwana Land. As the continents drifted to different locations, animals all over the world were adapting to their new environments. This giant bird evolved into the three large birds that live on different continents today. The emu of Australia, the rhea of South America, and the ostrich of Africa. Even after the big split, all the continents except Australia remained connected to each other in some way for a time, so animals living everywhere but Australia were free to move from continent to continent. Meanwhile, Australian animals, isolated from the rest of the world, evolved in their own special ways. This is a baby koala. And a koala is not a bear. It's a marsupial, like the possum, the kangaroo, and the wombat. Now, baby marsupials grow in their mother's pouches, and that's just what this little koala did. The interesting thing about koalas is they have these really long, sharp claws, and that's what they use to climb up trees. Koala's diet consists of just about one thing, eucalyptus leaves, and they're very high in fiber and low in protein. Hey, sounds like a pretty good breakfast cereal. In the wild, koalas live to be about 20 years old, but this koala's only 10 months old. Say good day. Good day.
Yes, sure, a big moment.
Oh. If you want to see koalas in the wild, you have to go to the eucalyptus forests of eastern Australia. Today, Michelle and I are helping rangers at Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve prepare for a routine but risky mission. Catch a koala and give it a checkup.
They've got very strong limbs and very sharp claws. The claws dig in very well, very precise grip on the tree. And they've got lovely pads which enable them to grip as well. And they just, so they can, if they slash past, they can hurt you.
Would you consider it a dangerous animal then, or?
Not in the sense of that it's life-threatening or going to seriously injure you, but it's equipped with claws and sharp teeth and a very strong jaw, and it doesn't know what your intentions are. It's going to do the best it can to get away. So
no, I meant because when you're out,
it's not going to seriously injure anyone, but it might hurt them.
Yeah. No, I just meant because like you're out in the wild, you often see animals in zoos and you think they're pretty passive, and then you get out here and you still think that, and it's not a passive animal at all.
It's a wild animal.
Okay.
They go over your shoes, you know?
Koalas are arboreal folivores, which means they live in trees and eat leaves. So rangers climb trees when they need to check on the koalas.
We just need to get that noose.
Ranger Don Fletcher, an experienced climber, is picked to bring down the koala. To reach the koala, Don uses mountain climbing gear. He secures a safety harness to his waist to prevent him from falling out of the tree. Is that kind of like the harness like a lumberjack would use when going up a...
The same, exactly the same. Yeah.
Into the tree.
That's it.
This spike.
Climbing irons work like claws to grip Don's feet to the tree trunk. And heavy gloves protect the ranger's hands from the koala's sharp claws.
Are you going to tell Michelle and David that this is what the last animal did to someone who tried to grab them?
No, cut it out.
Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't pull your leg, would I? Well, I would pull your leg, actually. No, it's probably done by someone trying to get them off in a hurry, I'd say. So.
You scared me. I'm not ready for this. Okay.
No,
All right.
Here we go. Go for it.
Don, while you're up there, could you get me a couple of samples of leaves?
Stephen Cork is a koala diet specialist. He's here collecting some fresh leaf samples.
How many do you need?
Oh, just a good handful. Preferably not as you're coming down.
Got it?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a professional. He's a professional. On the other side here. Koalas spend most of the day sitting in the fork of eucalyptus trees. At night, they're more active, eating and moving around from one tree to another. So when the koalas need to be examined, we need to take them out of the tree.
Okay, there's some old leaves, Steve, here. Will they do?
Yeah, that's fine, Don. Just throw it down.
Just drop it down. There you go.
He's watching you now, Don. He knows you're coming. Is he moving like going off to the branch?
Pull that rope right up and drop it down clear to you, and we haul up some poles and the noose. Can you bring it at the base of the tree?
Yeah.
Don uses a noose attached to a pole to bring the koala safely down to the ground.
You'll have to let him go over, Don. Keep lowering.
How many gloves on?
Okay.
You got it?
We put the koala in a burlap bag to protect the ranger until the animal is calm enough to be examined.
Got him? You got him, John.
Yeah.
Here you go. Was he safe in there?
Yeah. Are we safe though?
Oh, really? Now cut that out. Whoa! He's rolling away. Okay, how much is it worth?
First,
12 kilos.
the ranger weighs the koala, which tells him whether or not the animal is getting enough to eat.
Male. Put the weight down then. 12 kilos. That's about 25, 26 pounds. And tagged with a purple tag in the right ear.
Does it actually have a tag in its ear?
Yeah.
Then we checked his identification tag to make sure it's secure and readable.
So we'll just have a look at that now, see if we can get him out without getting too scratched and bitten.
It's making that noise again. Yeah, there it is.
There's a tag in his right ear.
One.
Just about his right.
Oh, you okay?
Vicious,
It's a wild animal. Look at that claw. That's incredible.
Okay, well, you can see the way they divide into 3 and 2.
Uh-huh.
Now that's very handy for gripping things. You see there, if you've got a trunk like that, you can grip around, and the sharp claws for digging into the trunk.
It's sort of like an extra thumb, I guess, isn't it? You get a look at these teeth there.
Okay, you see these sharp teeth at the front?
Yeah.
Now they're for breaking the leaves off. And at the back there you can see some broad flat teeth
Yeah, they're flat.
for grinding the leaves into fine particles. And you see in between the front teeth and the back teeth there's a gap.
Uh-huh.
Now that's so that you can move the leaves around in his mouth while he's chewing.
And all he eats is eucalyptus leaves.
That's pretty much all, yes.
What's that? It's that hole in it. It looks like a hole in its stomach. Right in the chest
Now,
there.
that's the sternal gland. This is a male, and it uses that gland to mark the tree with its scent.
So other koalas won't go near the tree.
That's right, especially if it's a dominant male.
There's a lot of people that believe that put koala bear into, say koala bear as the name of it. Is there any factual evidence that it's a sort of a bear, or?
No, it's definitely not a bear. A bear is a totally different sort of mammal. But like many marsupials, in the early days when Europeans first came to Australia, they named all the animals they saw after the animals they were familiar with in Europe. And this one looked like a bear, so it became the koala bear. And
The koala's a mammal, right?
that's right, but it's a special sort of mammal, a marsupial.
That means it has a pouch.
Yeah. The word marsupial comes from marsupium, which means pouch. And not all marsupials have a pouch, but most of them do.
Okay. Well, what about the word koala? What does koala mean?
Well, there are some people who've said that it means doesn't drink water because koalas can live in the trees without water, but other people, and I would tend to agree with this, think that it comes from Aboriginal words that mimic the sound that the koala makes. Well, And there are a range of